Despite the threat of retaliation from the US government, Canada has decided to implement its new digital services tax, targeting, of course, almost entirely US internet giants. Now, Canada argues that the British and French have successfully imposed similar taxes without facing massive US retaliation. But our guest thinks that the risk of the US hitting back is significantly higher during a US election year. We're joined by Michael Geist, chair in Internet and E-commerce Law at the University of Ottawa. Michael, always great to hear from you. Thank you very much for joining us. You think Canada is taking a risk here. First off, just describe this digital services tax. Exactly what is the government trying to achieve?
Yeah, sure. So this dates back a number of years where there are concerns that some of the large multinationals, but particularly tech companies, perception is they haven't been paying their fair share of tax, in part because they're very effective at moving some of that money around based on revenues that can come from things like data and intellectual property. So we've seen a number of countries establish this digital services tax, which is typically about a 3% surtax on the revenues that are generated from things like digital advertising or online marketplaces. U.S. has pushed back against other countries that have done it, but Canada has said we want to go ahead, especially if an international agreement that was designed to sort of mediate and address this issue failed to materialize. There was an agreement in place, but it hasn't been implemented. And Canada said, it doesn't get implemented, we're going to just move ahead and actually move ahead on a retroactive basis with the tax applicable for several years going back to 2022.
Apparently, one of the reasons we may not get an international agreement is the US intransigence. Say the Americans may not agree to it.
Well, the U.S. already did agree to it. They just haven't implemented it. So there is an agreement in place at the OECD. It involves large numbers of countries. The U.S. was part of it. And part of the reason they were agreeable to it is the truth is that for every country, there are some winners and some losers. So that there may be some losses in terms of certain companies that generate less revenue domestically for the United States. But then there may be other companies that aren't paying much tax in the United States that will begin to have to pay some of these taxes based on the revenues they generate in the U.S. So it was kind of designed to at least make it a little bit more manageable for many countries. Canada, I think, was viewed as a net winner under this particular agreement. We've got more companies that are generating revenues in Canada than we have Canadian companies generating revenues elsewhere. But nevertheless, without U.S. actually implementing it, the treaty doesn't take effect. And so the Canadian position is we're marching ahead anyway.
But the Americans, you say they haven't implemented it. Why is that?
Well, it's hung up in Congress, and as I think anybody who follows knows, it's a challenge to implement almost anything, it would seem, from a congressional perspective. And so it's not entirely out of bounds for Canada to say that we've got some doubts as to whether or not this is going to come to fruition. But there is a risk involved. And as you highlighted off the top, the risk is that the U.S. has been pretty consistent for countries around the world that if they implement these digital services taxes, they're going to retaliate with an equivalent amount in tariffs. And those tariffs can hit anything you like. So in the case of France, they targeted some of the French luxury goods. In the case of Canada, if they move ahead with that, it could target things like the dairy industry, steel, lumber, some of the more sensitive Canadian industries.
That's interesting. And I think you say perhaps in a dairy state like Wisconsin, that could play well in an election year.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, this really is a high risk bet from a Canadian perspective, because the bet is effectively we can generate this revenue, billions of dollars, as I say, retroactively to 2022, and the U.S. will just stand back and let it happen. They made it pretty clear in many other countries they're not willing to do that. We've already seen significant pressure coming out of the U.S. Congress to see some kind of retaliation. And if you're in a difficult fight for the presidency, it certainly doesn't take a lot of imagination to see either a Biden or a Trump, or frankly both, saying that they would advocate for tariff retaliation to curry favor, not just to send a message on digital services taxes, but to curry favor in certain states.
We're tight for time, less than a minute. The government thought that Meta Platforms was bluffing when it said it would block news content on Canadian sites or sites in Canada in response to the government initiative to get more money out of them. But Meta went right ahead. So it's dangerous trying to call America's bluff sometimes.
Well, it is. And in some ways, the U.S. has been pretty clear on this issue in the same way that Meta was clear. I really thought from day one on that news bill, where they said, listen, if you move ahead with mandated payments for news links, we're going to stop linking. Same for some of the streaming services that said, if you move ahead in this approach, we're going to challenge it in court. And that's exactly what's happening. And on the DST, we're basically in the same situation where the U.S. has been pretty clear. Canada moves ahead with this, likely to see tariff retaliation. And so far, the indications seem to be that the U.S. isn't playing around.